So inside this file, we're going to copy the code of the navigation bar where the user is not connected. Okay. And then we're going to create another file and we're going to call it navigation bar connected. And that's where we're going to place the navigation bar where the user is connected. So for now, I'm going to copy only the old navigation bar. Okay. So we're going to have the same navigation bars in both files. And then we're going to come back to this one and change it. So for now, let's go to the index.php file and write some PHP code in there. Okay. So what we're going to say here, we're going to say if the user is connected, include the first file. If the user is not connected, include the second file. So to check if the user is connected, we're going to check the session variable. Okay. And we're going to check if the user ID is set, okay, inside the session variable. So we're going to use the function isSet. And the argument it's going to take is session user ID. So the reason why we're doing this is because when we log in the user, we set this variable to the user ID. Okay. So if that's the case, we're going to include the navigation bar not connected, the navigation bar connected. Okay. Otherwise, we're going to include the other file, navigation bar not connected. Okay, so let's try this and make sure that everything is still working. So if we log in, okay, basically we are directed straight away to the main page, logs in. Well, if I go to the index.php file, okay, so you can see thus we've got the navigation bar there. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to change this navigation bar to something like this. Okay, so first let's change home to search like this. Okay, and then you've got profile, then help, then contact us, then we've got my trips. Okay, so if we click on my trips, we're going to be taken to the trips page, and that's the file main page logged in.php. Okay, if we click on the profile link, we're going to be taken to the profile page, which is profile.php. Okay. And then on the right hand side, we're going to have the logout link. Okay. And the href for that is going to be index.php with a parameter in there, which is the logout parameter. So this has been explained in the Notes app. So basically what we're going to do, once you click on that button, you're going to be taken again to the index.php file, and the file has got something at the top to deal with the logout. Okay, so if it finds a parameter logout, it's going to log the user out. Okay, so make sure that you're comfortable with that. And again, this has been explained in the Notes app. So that's it for the logout link. And then we need the username. So to get the username, we're going to need to run a query in the database, or we can just get inspired quickly from the main page logged in, because this has already been done. So what we did to get the username, was by using the session username. Okay. Well, that's one way of doing it, but we need to be careful here. If we use the session variable, we'll need to make sure that if the user updates their username from the profile page, we need to update the session variable, okay, corresponding to the username. That's one important thing. I'm going to follow another way here. I'm going to go to the database and retrieve the username from there. The reason why I'm going to do this is because later on we're going to need to get the picture as well, and just to make sure that we don't get any problems if the user updates their username or profile picture. I'm going to go straight to the database and retrieve these. So for the navigation bar connected, we're going to have some PHP code right at the top of the file. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to get the user ID, because we need the user ID to write the query. So we stored the user ID when the user logged in inside the session variable, and it corresponds to user ID like this. Okay. And then I'm going to get the username by running this query. So I'm going to select all records from the users table. Okay, where the user ID corresponds to this user ID. Okay, and then we're going to run the query using the MySQLi query function. So it's going to take a couple of parameters, our link variable where we store the connection, and the query itself. All right, so we're expecting one record here. So let's store the number of records inside a count variable. So we're going to use the function MySQLi number of rows, okay, to check how many records we've got inside the results variable. Okay, so if count is 1, that means that everything is okay. All right. So we're going to fetch one record here. Okay, so we're going to store the record inside a row variable. So to fetch the record, again, we're going to use the function MySQLi fetch array. So if you remember, this will take a couple of parameters. Okay, so you can give it only the first parameter, but we're going to specify that we want an associative array. Okay, that's the parameter for it. Okay. once we do that, then we can retrieve the username from the row variable. We're going to store it inside a variable username. So to access the username, we're going to go to the row array and select the element of index username. All right. If the count is not 1, then we're going to echo an error message. Okay. Okay, let's style this. And let's write some text there, something like there was an error retrieving the username. Okay, so now we've got the username, so we can just use that variable. Okay. Right before the logout, and we can have another list element in there with a link inside. Okay. And let's echo the username here. Here we go. So let's save. And refresh. Okay, so we are logged in right now, so we can see our username right there. We're going to come back to the picture later on once we create the code for uploading a picture. So that's our navigation bar for a user, okay, who is not connected, who is connected. Okay. All right, now let's have a look at our navigation bar for a not connected user. So we're going to make a quick change there. Instead of home, we want search. Okay. And that's it. All right, now let's have a quick look at the navigation bar of the trips page. Okay, so you're gonna update that as well. So let's change the brand to car sharing, and also change my notes to my trips. Okay, and instead of logged in as username, we're just going to have the username like that. Okay, we can take the HTML tags, okay, for the bold styling. Okay, and let's do the same inside the profile page. Okay, as you can see in the profile page, we're not using the session variable. We have retrieved actually the username from the database straight away. Okay, so let's just change this to username instead of logged in as username. Change that to car sharing. And change this to my trips. Okay, that looks all right. All right, one extra change to the navigation bars. So you can see the search link just before profile. Okay, so let's add that to the profile navigation bar and the trips page navigation bar. So let's start with the profile since we are already there. So that's going to be search. It's not active, and it's going to go to the index.php file. So let's copy this one to the navigation bar of the trips page. Okay. Okay, perfect. All right, so in the next video, we're going to go to the landing page and build the skeleton and decoration of this page, including the JavaScript code behind the Google map.